It's race day once again, and we are back across the states. We're back in the USA after a week in Germany. Today we're in Georgia for the Lanier Motor Speedway here in TexSEF iRacing League. Today sitting beside me, running our color commentary, and our very special guest, part of the Texas A&M University at Texarkana esports team. It is Luis Morales. Luis, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm really excited to watch this race. My first time watching, a national competition other than you. So, and to be commentating on it, it's pretty fun. So let's see how this goes.
Absolutely, and not just being your first race, we are taking a break from the sports car racing. We've already seen our GT3s run at Virginia and at Laguna Seca. We've seen the little funny go-karts, the Ray F1600 open wheel cars, run at Oschersleben. Today we're taking a look at some short track racing. Today we're looking at the street stocks at Lanier, the asphalt variation specifically. We're going to take a look here at the schedule for just a moment before we start getting underway. Qualifying's already done. We are at Lanier for the Monday and Friday. Next week we're looking at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Roval. Then 2 weeks back-to-back at Olton in Britain, the last piece of our international tour. So we're going to come back after that for South Boston Speedway for our last bout of short track racing. And then to close it off for the last week of the regular season is Summit Point Raceway. So a lot of fun, a lot of series going on, but we're going to get underway. You can see we're already starting to go. Final lap just before we start getting underway and green flag drops. So we have the leader of Axel from Science Academy backing up in second place being Ridgepoint. Third place in Lubbock, and fourth place backing it up on the back of the field is Eisenhower. Dinoco is a very special livery, so that's a pretty cool thing to see on the out front. Looks like Eisenhower is starting from the pit lane, but green flag is underway and we are racing. Heading too wide into turn one and turn two. That's Axel leading the pack there. Dylan and Lubbock, Ridgepoint and Lubbock still fighting for that second place spot. Eisenhower still in the pits, probably waiting on their penalty to start. That is a wreck coming off into turn one. Nasty wreck coming off into turn one there. Take a little bit better look here. Coming up into turn four, coming up into turn one, it just looks like number one worked his way up and got into the back of him.
Oh my.
Unfortunate to see, but it does happen in racing. It looks like not too much damage has been had to that number one. We'll take a look here at the Ridgepoint car. Not too much damage. Looks like it's been assessed too bad. Just some wrinkling on the car. Doesn't look like he really had a whole lot of damage besides just some body aches there.
Is there like any penalties for hitting or anything?
There can be if it is intentional. If it is accidental, usually we'll just give a stern talking to the other driver. But so far, that is Axel still holding on to that lead with an iron grip, not letting go.
There's a 2.2 gap on there. It looks like.
That is true. About a 2-second lead already, and we are just a couple of minutes into this 35-minute long race. It is a black flag for the Eisenhower car. Not sure what's going on. Looks like he's still in the pits. Actually, no, he's out on track now, so he's just got a black flag, probably from exiting pit lane a little bit awkwardly. But that is about 6 laps down for the 49 car of Eisenhower. So that's going to be a lot of pain to have to suffer through just to try and get back 6 laps. And that's going to be a very hard fight for that 49 car to really make up on that 43, that leader of Science Academy. Axel's had an iron grip on that winning lead all season long, making sure he cements it down and holds it. Marco having a little bit of difficulty showing up today, so we're not sure what's going on for there. He may just having some difficulties on the physical side, but that is okay. But he'll come back and he'll try and make some kind of defense going for his championship. You know, he is the returning TexSEF iRacing champion from
Eisenhower?
last year. No, that would be Hebron from Marco. Marco is the 2025 TexSEF iRacing champion. He holds the title, holds the belt. Certified that during the Undisputed State Championship last year. So today is the last season of him that we'll see him on the student side. He graduates this upcoming May, so this is kind of a farewell season and having some difficulties trying to hold it down.
Hopefully we get to see him race against you next year.
Racing me in college series, that's gonna be a very tough battle there.
You think out of both of y'all, who do you think really has
I
that
don't know.
spot?
We've got two different disciplines. He's mainly a sports car racer, and I'm an oval enthusiast.
Mm,
I do branch out every now and again for the sports car series, but he may have to branch out and come to the oval series if he really
come to
wants to see
you.
me shine. We're both good in our own aspects. We may have both started in sports car, but I kind of delved into my American roots and went back to, the glorified moonshine running cars running around these ovals. Which, fun fact, that is what stock car racing is derived from. Back in the heyday, back in the 1920s, all these cars that were stripped down and nothing but metal and an engine, that's what they ran. They
Moonshine?
they ran from cops and they ran moonshine up in the hills and across the valleys. They ran during the Prohibition, but when the Prohibition ended and alcohol was made legal again, there wasn't really a reason to run from them anymore. You could sell it
Yeah.
normally. So what they did is they took all those cars, they modified and they fixed up and everything like that, and they ended up just
Racing.
making a little track in the sand and in the dirt and just started racing around.
Now we got
And
this.
you know, 100 years later, that's what we're still doing here.
That's true.
Minus the alcohol, minus the paraphernalia, because this is a high school series league. But we're doing what our forefathers did about 100 years ago and just turning left in these modified street cars.
And he takes another left too.
That's all we're taking
Taking
today is
another
some
left.
lefts. And speaking of left, it looks like Science Academy is all but left behind the competition. He's about almost 6 seconds ahead, 5.5 seconds to Ridgepoint. So he's comfortably in that lead until something goes on. But right now, Ridgepoint is holding it down in second, even with that damage done to the front fender from that wreck about lap 2 or lap 3. So that's really unfortunate. A little bit of oversteer coming off of turn 4, going back into it, really chucking it all the way to the bottom. Really the preferred line here of Lanier on the asphalt. Almost tapping that wall is really a huge move. Probably the after effects of maybe that damage, maybe his line just kind of chucking it in and hoping for the best. Kind of saw during the practice they were spinning in left and right,
Yeah,
doing
once in a
donuts. They
while.
were really enjoying
Really
themselves on
saw
the
it from
short
Lubbock
track.
too. He was the one doing the most donuts out there from what I saw.
He definitely was. He was having a lot of fun, making sure that he gets his time out this week, because this is one of the only short tracks and ovals that we have on the calendar. We're so used to running these bigger cars on the bigger tracks, turning right, turning left, making all these different elevation changes, switchbacks, chicanes, and everything. Sometimes you gotta lay it back and just turn left every now and again. You just got to take it simple and really just rely on the car more so than track knowledge. I mean, you
Yeah.
can have track knowledge all you want, but it's not really going to help you when you're on about quarter mile.
So this is all about just a time limit, not really a certain lap amount.
Yeah, it's really more about timing more so than anything. Really, your knowledge of the car, where you can push. If you can push a little bit harder coming out of turn 4 and turn 2, you get a little bit better exit, but you're going to start heating up those tires. So you really got to know your car pretty well on where you can push and where you're going to lay back and just kind of sit through it and really just coast. Especially with these short tracks, when you're really using that brake pedal a lot more than the bigger tracks, say Bristol or somewhere like Daytona, where Daytona you're just sitting there with your right foot all the way on the floor on that gas pedal. You ain't
Yeah.
thinking about touching that brake. But short tracks like this at Lanier, like Summit Point, like South Boston, Sobo, all these little short tracks, you really got to think about where you're going to brake and really where you're going to get back into the throttle. You get back into it too early, you're going to loop the car like the 27 almost just did, leaving 4. If you do it too late, you're going to risk not getting a good exit, and you're really going to sacrifice that straight line speed. And watch that guy that's now 3 seconds off you start crawling back in just 1 little millisecond. So it takes one tiny little mistake, and that 6-second lead that Science Academy has built up for that lead is all of a sudden gone. One spin and it's over. And he is passing Lubbock already. He's making a lap right there, trying to get it done. Number 1 almost spinning it coming into 3, trying to hold that bottom line. Really about that braking zone. Like I just said, you really got to think about where you're going to brake. Number 1 absolutely sliding it through the corner.
Wee. Looks like number 1 and 27 really sit close to the corner, the edges, but on opposite sides. Number 1 really gets closer to the dirt. compared to number
Absolutely.
27. Which I'm keeping an eye on 27 because I'm. Uh-oh.
Ooh, yeah, really getting to that throttle a little bit too early. Like I said, you really got to think about where you're
Yeah.
going. Usually, most times that you see Lanier as a racetrack, usually it's in its dirt formation. So, especially running these street stocks at Lanier, you really kind of get a little crossed up thinking, oh, this might be dirt. And you start sliding around, then you realize the tires get super hot, the asphalt gets hot, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute.
That's
This
not
is the
dirt.
wrong layout. Really torching those tires coming out of 4. He's really holding it all the way to the bottom and holding that mid to bottom through the corners. Really, you want to sit there right against the wall here, chuck it all the way down to the bottom, coast it here, and now you're back on the throttle right there, but he's a little early on it. And
So
really, once those tires are hot, they
what's
are
the advantage of
toast.
like staying closer to the wall on those corners? Like right there, would that be a good spot to stay closer to the wall or not?
I personally, I stay as close to the wall as I can on the straight because you get a better turn in, you get more angle that you can chuck the car in.
Oh.
Because if you chuck it in from the bottom, a little bit of wall contact there from the number 1. If you really just sit it on the bottom all the way around the track, you're sacrificing your corner entry speed and your corner exit, where you really want to run this almost like a diamond, like an hourglass,
Mhm.
and really get the best exit you can. Because if you don't, then you're going to start getting passed by that 27, and it's not a really good look. Lubbock is already a lap down from the leader, and that is Ridgepoint now looking to make him also a lap down and get him out of the way. He's really got to start headhunting for that Science Academy car. Almost a little wall tap there. Really thinking about a little bit of bumper contact between the 1 and the 27. 1 is loose. But once those tires get hot, especially on these short tracks, they are melted. You cannot
Okay.
get any traction unless you sit it. Really low there.
Oh my. He's staying really low actually.
Really got to think about where you're going to chuck that car and where you're going to stick it, because one wrong move and all of a sudden you're toast. You're gone. You're going to have to sit it back into the pit lane for a couple of laps. And pit times are long on these cars, especially in the series of the street stocks. Really chucking it in. Almost a little wall tap there. Really lucky you saved that one. These cars can take a beating compared to the GT3s and the F1600s we've seen all season. So these guys are definitely trying to get a feel for how these cars handle, because we're going to see them back in this season later on towards the end. So this is really kind of the trial run here
Mhm.
before South Boston for the second to last round. But these cars can take one heck of a beating. You see them all wrinkled and
I was about
dinkled
to
and
say they look
dented.
like little soda cans out there. Some some of them do.
Hey, you never know. You might get some soda cans and repair it with some of those. You know, you got to get some repair panels out. But these cars can be
Ooh.
absolutely thrashed before they finally give in. Compared to those F1600s, one little breath on it and it's gone. That is the number 1
Oh.
spun around coming out of 4.
There he goes doing his donuts. His little half donuts.
A little bit of wheel spin trying to get off the line, bend back under the motion here.
Looks like Science Academy lapped him again, it looks like.
That is
2 laps
correct. Lubbock
ahead.
is all the way around again.
Uh-oh. That's unfortunate. It's going to make it 3 laps for Science Academy now. So
That,
how hard would it be to come back from that?
well, considering your lap times here around Lanier are about 15 seconds, it's really hard to get back a lap, especially when the leader's lapping a little bit faster than you. You know, he lapped 3/10 faster in qualifying, and right now in the race that is number 1 around once again. So those tires are absolutely melted. He's probably going to have to either let them cool off or dive into the pit lane for some fresh tires. But it is extremely hard to get back a lap after your lap down, especially on these short tracks, unless a caution comes out. Like contact between 2 cars will bring out a caution on these short tracks. If not, by automatic, it will come out manually. That is Eisenhower still in the pits now. 39 laps down. Really unfortunate to see 45, 46 laps down. Really unfortunate to see that happen. But it does happen in racing. It sucks to say, but it does.
So what happened to Eisenhower and why is he still so far behind in the laps?
Well, it looked like he started from the pits, so he already started 3 laps down, had some accident, and really just turned out really unfortunate. So we're not sure if it's a hardware issue, if it's a software issue.
Okay.
There's no really way we can tell unless we pull him in, but I don't think we're going to be able to grab his attention and pull him into the broadcast booth here
Yeah.
for a little bit of a talk.
Thought we might be really logged in right now trying to just get back out there.
Absolutely, really got to hope that that pit crew can get under there and work on the car. We may have seen him go around a couple of times, which is really unfortunate, especially with that Lubbock car now 3 laps down. That's the Lubbock car still trying to regain the speed. Looked like he just spun once again, really almost coming up to that 43 in the leader. That would have brought out a caution if he made contact and they both went around.
And
Number 1 around
spinning
one more
again.
time.
So right here, would you recommend him going back to the pit or just cooling down his tires right now?
I
In
personally
this
would probably
case.
spend a couple of laps trying to cool down those tires, but it's something really hard to do on these short tracks. There's not really a lot of room that you can do unless you stick it up high. Whenever you're chucking all the way to the bottom, you're heating up these tires, especially those outsides. You're really toasting them coming through, and then you have a little break on the straight.
Mhm.
Then you're back to torching them back through the bottom of this corner like this 43 is doing here, holding it all the way to the line, really getting good lap times, but really heating up those tires. That's number 1 sideways once more. But when you're riding that top line, you don't have as much stress on the tires. You don't have as much heat going through them. But you're also super slow. You start losing out on time. Especially you see all these kind of black marks, all these black little spot looking deals. Those are the marbles. That's just pieces of the tire that have torn off after the wear and tear of them. They start
Okay.
shredding apart after a while because these are slick tires.
Mhm.
So once it's over and done, those tires start disintegrating,
So it's
and it just
up.
kind of
Looks like
sits
he
up there
went
on the
into the
top.
pit. Number 1 did.
Looks like the
Getting
one
some
did take
new
our
tires.
advice. Now 6 laps down, really unfortunate, but that does come with short tracks. When you pit, you're sacrificing a lot.
Mhm.
You're going 2 to 3 laps down every time you go into those pits. So now, by the time you get to your pit stall, because you have to go all the way around this little area for Lanier, which is really weird that we set up the pit stalls like this instead of running right across the front. So we're not sure why, but that's just how iRacing did it. But you got to go all the way around just to get to your pit stall and then all the way back out. So you're now
Wasting a whole
7
lap.
laps
Yeah.
down. That's 5 laps that he's gotten just from the second he dove into the pit lane. So he's going to get some new tires, some fresh fuel maybe, because you have to have a scheduled pit stop in this race. You have 1 pit stop
Only one.
as mandatory in TexSEF iRacing. You have 1 pit stop to make.
Oh,
We
okay.
see it every race. We've seen a couple more pit stops more than scheduled. That's a 27. Now diving his way into the pit lane. Maybe a little bit of damage reassessment. Maybe some new tires for him as well. Number 1 back out on some fresh tires. 43 coming up behind him trying to get another lap down. That is the one saying, no, I've got fresh tires and now it's time to warm them up and get back out. So that's a 43 now on about 60 lap old tires. That's a
Oh.
43 around, really showing how toasted those tires are. Giving a flat nose there. Now
Yeah, he
diving to the
has the
pit
lap
lane.
to spare. I would probably do the same thing at this point.
Absolutely, he's really got to get that time back down. So that's Ridgepoint going to get his lap back, start getting ahead. That's Lubbock going to try and get as much time as he can. Really go back from 8 laps down. We may just see him have a bit of a recovery drive, maybe a little bit better contention for that 3rd place spot. Not sure, but we'll see later on the race because we have about 18 and a half minutes, almost 19 minutes until end of race. So that's 43 finally coming down into his pit stall. You see him right through the 27 there. That is number 1 now holding the only car on track, making sure he has as much time as he can. 7 laps down now. We're going to let you ride on board of the Lubbock car and really give you a feel for how these cars handle on this short track, and we'll be right back with you. And we're back to racing, back live. You were just on board with the car from Lubbock. You saw him get a little bit squirrely across that front straight there, but it's barely keeping out of the wall.
Oh, a little
Getting into
wall
the wall
tap.
there is a little bit of commentator's curse.
I was about to say, talking about his little skirt, and now he's wall tapping again.
Absolutely. He's now only 5 laps down, so if something can happen, maybe if the Lubbock or if the Rich Point, the Science Academy car can get a little accident, maybe get him some laps back, that would be amazing. That is the one almost coming into the 27 there. 27 absolutely sent it down low, trying to lap him here. Number one now fighting, trying to get that lap back away from the 27. Keeping it dead even on the cars now. Barely ahead. One
Nice.
starts getting ahead. Nice exit out of two. Really fighting to keep that lap ahead. Bringing 43 into this fight for the lead. Number one just desperately trying to get that lap back. Try and keep it above 5. Side by side, 43 now diving back low. Trying to get into this fight. Number one a little bit loose coming out of 2.
So like during sequences like this, what's the best position you can like really be in right now?
Honestly, where that 43 is sitting, where he's down low, he's getting the least amount of distance covered. So in racing, if you have that bottom line, you're getting around the track faster because you're traveling less distance. If you're up top, you're having to travel more distance at a faster rate, trying to cover the same amount.
Okay. Don't you like? Don't your tires get hotter the lower you are though, as well? Like
Yes,
you'd be
you
like
do.
risking it, but still gaining from it at the same time. So
Yes, you
kind of
do
like a double-edged
gain.
sword.
You do gain in track position, but you do lose out in tire temps and a little bit of tire wear. You wear more the more scrubbing you do, which the scrubbing is when you turn the wheel more, having to keep that car more active in the turn rather than just moving about. Really, in iRacing alone, one of the only sims I've seen where you just want to sit that wheel as still as possible in the corner because the smoother the car, the faster you are. That's really it. You get the least amount of wear on the tire. You get the least amount of temps going in. So that's the cooler the tire, the less tire wear that you get per corner. In real life, you're really scrubbing as much as you can, trying to chuck that car in and hold it. But in iRacing, it's as smooth as you can to hold it as the least amount of time to keep it there. So when you're holding this bottom, ideally you want to hold that wheel as still as you can because that's less temps through the tire, that's less wear. But the more jerking around that you do, the more scrubbing you do, the more moving about the wheel that you have, that's more tire wear done, that's more scrubbing, that's higher temps, and that's more thrashing about on the tires that you get. We may see another pit stop in this race before it ends with only 14 minutes to go, just with how these drivers are going, how aggressive they're being on those tires. So we'll just see in the next 13 minutes and 50 seconds of how this race turns out. But as it stands right now, 27 is desperately trying to keep ahead and keep from going a lap down on that 43. If that 43 spins out, that's good luck for the 27 and for that number one. But right now, as it seems, that 43 is going as quick as he can, trying to get that lap down, trying to get past the 27. That 27 is trying to desperately hold ahead and keep from going a lap down and start looking at the same pocket that Lubbock is looking at.
Look, hopefully number 43 doesn't like burn his tires out faster right now, trying to regain that top position, trying to like not lose any more laps as he is right now, which he isn't really losing any. I don't believe he is, but
He's only about 2 or 3 tenths off his pace at the moment, so he's currently okay. He's just kind of sitting back, trying not to be too aggressive on those tires, trying to conserve them a bit better. But that 27's having to push as much as they can, trying to keep ahead of the car. That is the Ridgepoint taking over the fastest lap away from Science Academy. Now with a 15.050. That's almost a 15 flat. A little bit faster than what Science Academy's pulled during the race. So they are pushing as much as they can, trying to keep ahead. If they can get all the way back around, and maybe if that 43 can loop it maybe once or twice, 27's in a lot better standing for maybe a first place here. But as it stands, 43 is holding that first place comfortably.
he is, I believe, how many laps ahead right now, or just seconds right now?
He is about 15 seconds ahead of the 27. That's why he's on his bumper looking to lap him.
So we got another pit stop from number one to Lubbock.
That is number one, diving down to the pit lane. Maybe kind of tap the wall there. Maybe get some fresh tires after maybe spinning once more. So
Oh,
we may see another pit stop for these front two runners here. We are not sure. 43 getting a little squirrely out of the corner. Put you right on the suspension of this 43. Really show you how close he's getting on that low line. Really show you that wheel activity of what he's doing here.
I was gonna say, just like you said earlier, like you really got to keep your steering wheel as still as possible. We see it a lot from number 43. I don't really see any much movement from there as soon as he like hits the bottom part, which is really impressive because I know me, I'd be shaking like crazy right now.
Shaking is probably what happens in real life. You know, you really got to fight that car to hold it on bottom. That's 27 making a little bit of a downward move there. One now back on track, but that is 43 really trying to hold it as still as he can because that's the least amount of movement through.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever done this type of racing, like in real life?
Yes, I have done dirt track and I've done asphalt racing all the time in my life. It's what I've grown up doing. So I've got a lot of experience doing,
Yeah,
you know,
I
oval
see.
tracks. It's kind of where I started moving through. That's kind of where I branched away from the sports car racing with Marco, and I started doing more oval tracks. You know, I'm more adverse in here
Uh-huh.
uh, in these little stadiums. You know, more so than sports car racing over in Germany and Italy. I'm versed in it. I know what I'm doing, but I know a little bit more about doing oval tracks. It's 43 getting leaving some tire tracks there coming out of two.
He might be getting a little desperate to get back up. He's wobbling a little bit too, coming back up from that curve or the straight actually.
Just means those tire temps are high, so he's really been starting to push here, but now he's getting onto the throttle a little too early and torching those tires, so we may just see another dive into the pits in the last couple of closing minutes here.
So would you recommend 27 to go in the pit if he sees 42 go in or 43 go in or no?
I would say for the 27 to take it one more lap and then dive it down,
Mm-hmm.
try and get on him. We're going to put you on the rear bumper to show you how close that 43 is getting on him. Right up to him.
Yeah, this is a lot different perspective from what we were seeing earlier. It didn't look as close compared to this.
Absolutely, really on the bumper of the 27 here, really showing you that he's getting within a sniping distance here. Really close,
Ooh.
almost for a move here. 43 now making that move, trying to get it clear. Almost thinking about diving into the pits there, but still holding it on bottom right below the apron. Borderline illegal move. Moving below the apron to pass is an illegal move in most stock car series, including NASCAR. So really got to think about where he's going to push here. Really had me thinking that he was about to dive into the pit lane.
I did too for a second. So if the apron, would that be like the entrance to the pit lane or?
So the apron is that yellow line, that yellow dotted line you see along the bottom of that track. That's really where the last piece of track limits are. That's really where you want to stay above
Okay.
for tracks like Daytona and Lanier, South Boston. Most oval tracks have that apron there, and it's illegal to pass below it. And most, if not all, oval racing organizations. Not sure how iRacing classifies it. I'm not too terribly sure, but most leagues that I race in clarify it pretty plainly in the rules that passing below the apron is an illegal move. And if you pass below the apron, you are ordered to give that position back to the person you passed. No matter how many you pass or how you pass, that's 43 sending it up high, thinking maybe a little second move, or if he was just late on the brakes there. 27 really defending with his life in the last 7 minutes and 40 seconds, trying not to go a lap down.
This is getting really intense right
It is. We're sitting on the edge of our seats here.
now. I hit that quick little gamer pose. I'm not the one racing.
Absolutely. You get into it. You get
Yeah,
into the
you
racing
really
here.
do.
The cars may not be real, but the tensions and the stakes are real.
Definitely
They
is.
are definitely high and all the way there. You see the 27 almost on that line, really close and holding it to the bottom. Really proving why he took that fastest lap away from that 43.
I was gonna say I always thought Eisenhower might have come out, but
Maybe, maybe not. We may just see, but that is the number one Lubbock car. Back out now, 9 laps down. Here on the front straight, looks like a brand new car. a little early on the gas there, really getting loose there coming out of 2. And again, acting like it's a dirt track layout that is almost all the way around. Little wall tap.
So you haven't done like these type of races and iRaces. Like how hard is it to really get a feel for these type of courses?
Well, when you only got 4 corners, about quarter mile, you get for a feel for it after probably the first 5 to 10 miles. So you start getting a better understanding of the track the more you drive it. You know, that's kind of how it is for almost every track I've done, either real life or in a video game. You get a better feel for it the more you're there. You know, I feel like that's kind of the deal for everything. You know,
Yeah,
the
real
more time you
racing.
spend on it, the more you understand it. So the more time you play Apex Legends, the more understanding you get of it, the better mechanics you do, the more hours you sink into it. So really, for short tracks like this, I would say it probably takes about an hour or 2 to get a really good feel for that track and that car. It takes a while to understand it, but it's better when you fully understand the car and you just go to a different track. Then you know how the car behaves. You just need to see how it behaves at this track and get a feel for the track itself. It's a good baseline to get whenever you stick to one car, but in TexSEF, we take that out and we give you about 3 or 4 different cars and a whole bunch of tracks and say, have fun. You know, learn it as best you can within the week, because next week's we're changing.
Okay, so the cars change every week.
About, yes, almost every week.
That's
Last
nice.
week we were in the F1600s. The week before that we were in GT3s. You know, so every week we've had a different race and different cars, different track layouts. So really giving you a different portfolio for every week, really giving the drivers a different understanding for what goes on. You know, we saw the open wheel racing last week, so you got to be really careful, really touchy, really delicate on the cars. Week before that with the GT3s, they're a lot faster, a lot heavier, so you really got to think about the aerodynamics and really how you're going to pull the car through the corner. So this week it's all about car that is the number 1 almost into the 27. 43 diving it really low there. We're going to take a look at that one more time. Going to hop right on board with him here of the number 1. Looks like he just gets onto a little too early through the corner and almost saves it, overcorrects, a little bit of loss of the tires there. Really just spun him around, hot tires and no traction. You got nothing to do but spin it.
It's so unfortunate, especially since you said it looks like he has a new car right now.
It does. He
Just for him to
maybe
ram
just
it,
torch the tires.
unfortunately.
But that gives all Ridgepoint needs to get as far away as he can. Now about 12 seconds down, so really chasing down the last 4 minutes of this race. If he can pull 11 seconds from somewhere, he should be able to get a little bit better fight. But that did get some relief for the Ridgepoint car because that is Science Academy off of his bumper and now sitting about the other side of the track here. Take a look from the blimp here, really get you a better idea of what's going on. 43 coming around the start finish, and that is Dylan now coming out of the back straight. So only 11 seconds separate him. So he's got to be smart about where he's going. But worry not, because we have 3 minutes and 20 seconds here. Number 1 around one more time. Really shredding that car and really pushing its paces, really showing you how much damage these cars can take and still keep going. These cars are dang near relentless. You can probably saw it in half and it still run.
I would like to see that actually.
we'll get a sawzall and we'll hop out there and we'll see if it'll work. We'll start with the roof. We'll see if it can take the damage and keep going. We'll see if it's BeamNG in real life.
Well, I mean, I feel with the roof it could. Realistically.
It may.
Even my truck could. Very uncomfortable, but it could probably.
Yeah, you'll get the wind in your face. That's for sure.
Convertible. Without Neo, it'll be a convertible.
It'll be a permanent convertible. It'll be a sport car.
Sports truck.
Sports truck. I'm sorry. We'll take the bed off too. That way it'll be technically a car.
That's true.
43 starting to look a little squirrely here towards the tail end. The last closing 2 minutes of the race. Those tires are gone. Ridgepoint now 10 seconds flat and closing 9.7 2 minutes to go, so 43 really got to be smart about the recovery here for the last 2 minutes. Ridgepoint just needs to send it as fast as he can to crawl back 9.5 seconds here, if he can pull it back. I don't think so, but if you do, that's because you get wrecked.
Yeah, very risky too.
And hey, we may just see a 3-car pileup, you know. You never know. You got a minute 35, you got 3 cars left on track, and one's having a little difficulty in car control. So you never know. He might collect the other two, and we may just see a last-second pit stop.
Something could happen on one of them. Number 43's tires are giving out, and that could lead to...
That is, he is starting to give out. That is a little wall tap there coming into one from the 27 and the back straight for the 27 as well. That is 43 almost thinking about that wall. Really, those walls have some hands. If they reach out, they're going to grab you. Ooh, almost right there. I don't think I could stick my finger in the gap between there.
He's playing real close right now.
Really, he's really trying to recover as much as he can. 9 seconds now between Ridgepoint and Science Academy. 50 seconds to go, so I think it's all but sold here for Science Academy to take home the victory and bring home Dynaco a pretty happy victory lane.
Another trophy.
Another trophy indeed for round 3 of the TexSEF iRacing League. If you or anyone you know is interested in doing esports for the high school and middle school level, check it out at www.texsef.org. Again, that is www.texsef.org for all of your esports needs, looking anywhere from Apex, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, Overwatch 100%, iRacing, chess even. If there is a game and it is competitive, TexSEF is holding it. Even from Tekken to Street Fighter to anything in between, we have it here at TexSEF. Just reach out, check it out, get your esports team interested, and we will see you at www.texsef.org.
The race, I believe.
That is the race. That is Axel with the victory. Number 1 in the wall, doing a little celebratory ending there. A little burnout there.
See if we see any donuts coming from number 43.
I think we will. You know, it's oval racing. That's him sliding it through 1 and 2. Looked like some hardware issues for Eisenhower for the side, so that's disappointing to see. 129 laps down, but that lets you know we went. How many laps did we go? 130 laps
In 30 minutes?
in 35 minutes.
That's insane.
Absolutely insane.
It did not seem like that many laps.
Well, it's a quarter mile.
That's true. That'd be quarter mile and 130.
That is.
I'm not even gonna do the math because I don't want to embarrass myself right now.
That's okay. You can do the math with your calculator here in a minute.
I want to say 10 miles. That's 100. No, I'm just done. I'm done.
Well, to get a mile, you got to do 4 laps
You gotta do
for a
4
quarter
laps,
mile.
Yeah, so it can't be. Gonna get flamed in the comments here.
Well, we're going to let you be right back, and we're going to let you take a break here while we get a hold of our competitor for his after-race interview. We'll be right back here at the same Twitch and same YouTube. We'll be right back.
It's 32 miles.
It's like one of the best drifts.
Do you have a copy, Wesley? Hello? Nice one. I Little oopsies. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but I didn't know if you're like deafened or something. Ready, Roger.
back with the main driver here. We have the winner of our race here. We have Axel. Axel, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. A little tired, a little sore from that 130 laps.
130 laps is pretty crazy. I think my co-host here said it was 38 miles, about something like that, for 130 laps, which is pretty insane to cover in 35 minutes for a short track. We're about 0.38 miles, that is linear, on the asphalt configuration. Hey, you won. You won after 130 laps. You started about got hit there a couple of times from a couple of the other cars. Really had us worried here in the broadcast booth. But you won. How do you feel?
Pretty good, pretty good. I think after third or fourth lap, when Dylan got hit, I just kept myself just stay there, don't make a mistake, don't start spinning out and drifting.
Yeah, well, we definitely saw you drift around a couple of times, really, with those hot tires. You definitely had some fun there towards the end there. We kind of thought you were going to do a late race pit stop with about 10 minutes to go, really, with your tires starting to melt there. So we're really surprised you didn't. But we definitely saw you get a little bit more composed and a lot more relaxed on the car. You stopped moving around and scrubbing the tires as much, so that got me really happy for all of y'all as a whole to get such a quick understanding of the car so fast in 35 minutes. I saw every single one of you go from the practice of spinning around, driving around like it's on dirt, to really treating it like it's a stock car race on asphalt. So that was really happy for my soul to see as an oval racer and as a NASCAR driver for the Play Versus and the Collegiate iRacing League. But Axel, this is round three, and you right now have a pretty solid grip on victory this early in the season. So you're really doing good, especially with that Dynaco. So I know you made Dynaco very proud today. But man, one more question for you, Axel. I know you're tired. You want to go to bed after this certainly long race. I've got another race to do for the Collegiate League, so y'all should check that out. But
Yes.
Axel, you won today. Who do you want to thank? Who do you want to shout out for that victory today on Monday?
I like to shout out Chickix, taught me pretty well when I was 6.
Anybody else?
But what were you gonna say?
Anybody else you want to thank or shout out?
Javi again, Javi. Kind of like the main reason I'm here. Just gonna drive for Javi.
Always drive for hobby. That's a good shout out there, Axel. Well, thank you. You go celebrate your victory and you go be tired.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Wesley.
Absolutely. All right, that was Axel, the winner of today's race. Really happy to see him win there. A lot going on. A lot of laps to go. 0.38 miles is the distance of the track. Ran 130 laps. That's pretty crazy. You know, uh, 32 miles is a lot of distance to cover. Let's see, 0.38. We'll do it on the calculator really fast too. It looks like 0.38 times 130 laps. That is almost 50 miles to cover. That is a lot of time, a lot of distance to cover. So that's really cool to see. But as for today, that is going to be it for us. So check us out one more time at www.texsef.org for all of your esports needs. If you or anybody you know wants to do anything with esports at the middle or high school level, reach out at us and we'll get you started and get you underway. But that's all for us today on a Monday for the TexSEF iRacing League. We'll see you on Friday for the same race for the same cars. Same channel, same bat channel, same time, same place. We'll see you.